Yes, I think it's recording right now. So
Yes.
I would like to welcome you all once again and to our English Exchange Salon. And in this event, we share our experiences, our failures, our achievements, whatever our feelings. So we are doing these sessions for 4 weeks, and now today we have a special guest, Sarp Ertekin, and he will uh, share our share his experiences with leadership skills, conditional leadership. It's very effective training, and I would like to thank you all for joining us. And also, I would like to celebrate your single day. And also, after events, when it's finished, you can ask your questions to Sarp Ertekin because he's also a relationship coach. So maybe he can help you in your relations. So just feel free to ask, feel free to speak. So we never measure your English skills. So just be an attender and just feel free, okay? So I would like to give a word to our special guest, Sarp Ertekin. He's very special to our chapter and to me. He's a brother to me, and he's a coach to me always. When we need every time him, he always available for helping us. So I would like you, in front of you, thanks Sarp Ertekin. So hello, Sarp.
Hi
Thank
everyone.
you
Hi
for joining
Erdem.
us.
Thanks for the compliments. It's very nice of you, as usual.
You're deserving
I,
this.
I will get you a drink.
How
Thanks for that.
old?
I am right now 45 years old.
45.
Yes.
You don't show.
Yeah, with makeup.
You seem so young.
Thanks.
Nasa is joining us. So hello, Sahar.
Hi. Can you hear me, guys?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So if we are ready, we can start whenever we are available. It's okay for us. Abi başlayabiliriz.
Erdem, would you please also turn on the screen sharing for me as well? Ah, good evening,
I think you
everyone.
can
Yeah.
share your screen
Okay.
without my permission. Do I have to allow you?
It says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay, just 1 second. I will make you host, okay? And after that, I think you can share your screen.
Okay.
Now you are the host, and you can share. Very well.
Can you see it now?
Is everyone okay? Everybody can see the screen?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
It's okay.
All right.
Great,
Thanks, guys.
great.
Yeah, I can
Good
see,
evening.
but I barely hear Sarp's voice. Can you adjust your microphone, please, if possible? I don't
How is it
know.
now?
I can hear Erdem clearly, but
How is it now?
I speak loudly.
it's better. Thank
Okay.
you.
Perfect. So I will try to, of course, make a presentation as well to accompany us during when I am talking, but I would like to also get your comments and your views as much as possible rather than making it a one-way communication. So please feel free to interrupt me and add your additional value into the conversation. So first of all, thanks again for the GSI and Erdem, especially for organizing this event. And also very thank you for joining and separating this time, especially to spend with me. I would like to be very valuable, try to be sharing everything that I know about the leadership. So I would like to also get your comments and views in each topic as much as possible. Today, we would like to talk about how I also experienced the leadership in my current job experience and some of the good insights that I get during my journey in a shell company for the last 17 years. So first of all, we would like to talk about a problem and we will define the meaning of a problem in our teams, in our conversations, even in our personal life or the business life. And after that, I would like to share some of the tips that I use in my daily conversation with my colleagues in order to improve the relationship with the colleagues, especially in the organization. And at the end of the conversation, I would like to mention a special methodology that is called the situational leadership that I have been implementing on the field for the last 6 or 7 years. And during some of the contractors meeting in my current role, I also try to share this experience and the positive feedback from the people that use it is also showing that the system really works when you use it. So we will talk about especially the defining of a problem. But before that one, I would like to open the floor, especially for your comments. If you would like to uh, mention or ask for any additional topics, so I can maybe get them right now and then try to touch them in my slides during the next couple hours. So what is your expectation today from this event for tonight?
My expectation actually just solving the problem with our managers, and you know they are always crazy to us, and
Uh-huh.
sometimes our expectations is not meeting with their expectations.
Okay.
So I think this event will make our life more easier. I hope.
Yep.
So
Thank
if you have any case, guys, or have any questions, just feel free to ask and speak. Uh, I don't want to address anyone directly because maybe it's not comfortable for you.
I can take the floor.
Sure.
Yep,
Yes.
please.
Okay, so hi, this is Nesha. I'm happy
Nesha,
that
okay.
we are again joining.
I don't
We
see
are
you. Just one
joining.
second.
I'm not
Yes,
making the
Nessa.
camera as I'm driving. Yeah. So I have just a question because this is something I'm facing years ago in the management and the leadership. I have always this issue with the difference of generation seeing how we should work and how we should do things. So
Mhm.
I would appreciate really to have feedback related to this.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Valid question. Thank you very much for that.
By the way, sir, just one second. By the way, you can be a manager, so it's also important for you to manage your team. So this is also a case for you. Okay. So yes, sir.
Right. Right. But you can also use these tips vice versa. If you know how to approach one of your colleagues, then you will also be able to approach your line manager in the same way to request some support or guidance when needed. So it is not only one way from directly to uh, the employee from the manager, but can be used by everyone to get support from the direct manager or the line supervisor when needed. So let's slowly start to the topics and then during the way we can always talk about the upcoming questions, right? So how you define a problem? What is a problem? Especially in business life, how you define a problem? Any guess? There isn't a correct answer, so don't worry.
I think they don't have any problem, sir. Their life is so easy.
Yeah.
I think we have a lot of problems that we cannot define them because it's too much that to have a
Yeah.
definition. But I would say that this is a situation
Mm-hmm.
where we are having disagreement, we are having blockage to develop the business or in or problems between colleagues in the company. So I would say that.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Also, Saad Zabari said it's a weird question, but actually it's not weird. Zabari, Saad, it's the question that when you say there's a problem, okay, how you decide that there's a problem or there's a big case for you to cannot solve. Okay, sir, you can continue.
Please, and then I can reply to your to the question. If I think where I put where because it's difficult to define what is definition of problem in business life or in life in general, but generally a problem is something who are or obstacles or something you have to face it or to struggle with it to block and stops you or block you to attempt some objectives or some goals.
Right. Yeah, thanks for the comments. Especially the leaders, like the global leaders, make a definition for this question. They say that when you have a question mark in your life, until you find the answer for this question mark, you will have a problem in your mind. So every problem comes with a question. For example, one of the babysitters leaves or quits the job. So now
Sorry,
the family.
sir. Please, can you make the voice higher, more bass, because we don't hear you well.
Okay, how is it now?
Yeah, now it's better.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
for example, the family babysitter quits the job. Now the mother has a new problem. How will I find a new babysitter? That's a question mark. So until she finds a new babysitter, she will have a problem in her life. For example, you will have a problem when you have a toothache, because the question mark is how you will get rid of this headache or toothache until you survive completely. So you go to a doctor, you take a medicine for a couple of days. So this is a continuous problem in your lives until you find the real solution for your question mark. And it's the same thing for the relations. For example, you have a conflict with your line manager and then or with your colleagues in the office, then the question mark is how you will solve this problem. So you will have a question mark, and then you try something, and then the other day you try something, the other day you try something, and if it doesn't work, then this question mark will continue and becomes a bigger and a bigger problem every day until you find the right answer for your question mark. And people always try to find the solutions. But the problem is, especially, what is the real solution? Because the solution sometimes can be a real solution, or sometimes it can be a fake solution. What do I mean with that? For example, you have a toothache and you have a question mark, right? You have a problem. And the question mark is how you will get rid of this toothache. So the first thing is to take a medicine. And then you take a painkiller and you feel good maybe at 3 hours or 4 hours. But then it just pops up again after 4 hours. Then you realize that the solution you find at the beginning was a fake solution. It wasn't a real solution. So it is very similar to daily conversations or daily relationships with your family members, your business members in the human to human behavior as well. We try something, we try to find a solution for this question, but most of the time, unfortunately, we spend our energy for the fake solutions. And at the end, we realize that it didn't work because we were not aware of the real solution. So my question is, what do you think? What might be the differences between a real solution or a fake solution?
I guess a fake solution would be a temporary solution. It doesn't last. It doesn't make the problem disappear. Whereas a real solution is what makes the problem disappear. For example, as getting a dentist appointment and getting the tooth out or or something.
Yeah, completely treatment, then it will continue, right? Yeah. So, for example, you take the first medicine, and after 4 hours, you start to feel the tooth again, right? And now, what is the next step? Most of the time, you try to maybe take a stronger medicine or take two of them, right? So, what we do, we increase the quantity or we increase the time that we use it. So we try to do it several times, right? So in order to understand if a solution is a fake solution or a real solution, one of the key symptoms is to look at the number of the quantity or the repetition number. Let me give you another example. Do you have a time with one of your friends that you give him or her an advice many times and he or she didn't even change or listen to your advice? Then after a while, when you sit together, you said that I told you 100 times. I told you 50 times. You never listened to me. I told you this 50 times ago and for maybe 2 months. Now you see it, right? Do you have a similar example with any of these family members or business? I see the heads are nodding, right? So can we get a real life example from one of you?
Says sure. I think she has a
Yeah.
case for that. Also, Suat Bendu is saying solution is knowledge, a real problem, and also is to know a real principle cause of problem, she said. And Ghislaine said, can we say that finding a solution to the problem is also a problem? Yes, also it's a problem. Thank you for your replies.
Yeah. Can we get a real example case from a daily life conversation?
I don't know. I have many cases, but not a real conversation. I don't remember right now.
Yeah. Imagine one of your friends that you tell anything, any subject many times, but there isn't any change in the behavior. And you are complaining about the several times that you
I
mentioned it.
generally say don't message to her. I generally say to my friend, don't message to your ex-boyfriend.
Uh-huh.
But he's always sending message and always taking the blockation.
Right. And how many times you think you told that?
So I'm saying, I told you.
Yeah, how many
I don't
times you
know,
guess?
50 or 100 times, but
50 times, right? Yeah.
50.
And yeah, maybe we also do the same thing in our life many times in our jobs. Yeah, for example, when you ask for a report or when you ask for a job to be done, sometimes you see that kind of similar cases in your conversations that you mentioned the colleagues that I told you before this topic several times, but you still continue to act the same way or behave in the same way and you are not changing, right? So the question is, how come do you think that when you told the same sentence or the same thing for the next time, which is the 51st, what will be changing? You already told him or her 50 times. So what is the difference for the next one?
I think he should find a new one.
No, this is a fake solution. Why? Because you are increasing the number. You are saying the same thing again and again and again and again. You are increasing it. You are increasing the number. And
I
when
know,
they,
sir. That's why I'm single.
yeah, and when they are not listening to you, if you are not able to increase the number, then you are increasing another thing. And it is your voice. Now you start yelling, for example, to the kids in the family. After 5 or 6 times, I told you several times, just do your homework. Now you increase your voice because it's a fake solution. That's a symptom. If you are increasing the repetition or if you are increasing your voice, it is not a real solution. Why? Because we think that speaking is a solution. Speaking and making a conversation, making a chat with your colleagues, with your line manager, with your family members, or with your finance or darling, whatever. I have a topic to talk to you, right? You call him or her for a conversation and you start talking and nothing changed because you have a wrong belief that speaking is not a solution for problems. What is speaking then? Speaking is a way of communication. That's it. Speaking is not the right thing for solving our problem. It's a fake solution. So what does it happen when you start increasing the voice? Now you can see in the screen, people are in the same room, right? In the saloon, in the office, and they are yelling and shouting each other. So why are they shouting? They are in the same room. They can hear each other, right? Is there a need to shout? There is only
No,
1 meter away. They are only maybe 1 meter away from each other. So why are two people are shouting or increasing the voice to each other? What is the message there?
because no one is listening to each other.
Right, exactly. When you increase your voice, the message that you give to the other person is, you are not understanding me. You are not listening to me. You are not understanding me. I feel myself not understood. I feel myself not valued. That's why I shout. The only thing I wait from you is to see me, to understand me, to feel instead of me. That's it. That's why I am shouting. And what triggers shouting and what triggers increasing the voice? Because people, most of the time, use the word, and the word is you. So when we start a conversation, we especially use the word you in our sentences. Like, you are not replying to emails on time. That's one of the sentences maybe a manager can use when he or she talks with one of the team members. Then, when you use the word you, there are only two alternatives for the people to reply. The first alternative is he or she will deny it. He said, no, I don't do it, or I never did it. Or the second alternative, he or she will start complaining about you. And then he will say that, oh, you do the same thing. Oh, you did a similar thing 2 weeks ago. Oh, you remember, you remember you did the same thing last month. Because if you use the word you in the conversation, then it triggers the people self-awareness, and then they will go to the defense. Is it clear to everyone right now so far?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, perfect. So imagine, let me give you an example between a wife and a husband, okay? It says like a general conversation. Uh, for example, the husband says, you are yelling at me all the time, okay? And the lady will reply, the first option, I'm not yelling at you. That's the first option, just denying it. But when she does it, she's already again yelling. Or the second thing, she will just give a similar example for the husband. You yell at me all the time. You yell at me last week. You yell at me in front of your mother last week, right? So that will also trigger the conversation. So instead of using the word you, then you can draw the line, your limit line with these people and say, I don't feel myself good when someone yells at me. So this is not about you. This is for everyone. When someone yells at me, I don't feel myself good. So for this word or for this sentence, there isn't a reply. There isn't anything that the opposite person should say. And after a couple of times, if you draw your line, if you set the limits, then this person understand that, oh, she has a limit. So she doesn't like yelling at her. And then the behavior will slowly and smoothly will change by the time. So is there any example that you want to share or make any comment about this conversation type? Okay. So rather than
You're thinking, I just want to share the Suat Bendu's opinion. And she
Mhm.
says to defend his or herself and don't hear the other one, make value his or her ego. And she answered that sentence when you ask the question,
Mhm.
uh, what you act, why people yelling or why they speak loudly to against people. So
Mhm.
she answered like that. Thanks
Mhm.
a lot for your
Yeah.
um,
So for
support.
example,
And
if you
also
have a
Sumaya Zeki says very clear.
yeah, thank you. So for example, if you have a team member uh, who is not sending a report on time, or who is not doing the tasks on time, rather than using the sentence that, oh, you didn't do the report on time, or you haven't sent the report on time, rather than using the word you and mentioning the mistake or the failure that he or she did, we would like to use the sentence in a format that just express our feeling and mention that I don't feel myself good when I don't receive the reports on time. This is not a personal issue. This is not between you and me. This is for everyone. I don't feel myself as a leader or confident. I don't feel myself confident when I don't get the reports from my team members. And then leave the floor for opinion, for the reply. This is not blaming. This is just feeling your expression. And the next time, just follow it. You will see the change. You will see the understanding and the value. And the people understand, oh, this is her style. This is his style. She doesn't like it this way. So I can change it the next time, right? Otherwise, when you use the word you, then the team members will think that, oh, my line manager doesn't like me. He always about complaints or looks for my mistakes in the office, right? Like Erdem did. At the beginning, Erdem said, we always have a problem with my manager. Most possibly, she's using the you
Also,
word
we have
many
to
times, right?
also we have to make our managers attend this kind of trainings.
Right, right.
And so
And
far, you really gave us very crucial information and crucial advice. And
yeah,
thanks in advance.
yeah. Let's use Erdem your example. Imagine that you
Yeah.
made a mistake according to your manager, and she mentioned that uh, you were not good enough or uh, like you were not on time, okay? And she just make the comment, especially about your skills or your competency, and then you start to feel yourself bad. And for the next report, you will be much more excited not to make any additional mistake in order to
Not
be
exactly
seen.
stressed.
Yes, and you will be in stress in order not to make an additional failure, but eventually this will lead you to make an additional mistake, right? Because you already under stress.
Actually, after some point, I quit expressing myself to her, and also she quit to express herself to me. And she said once, "You are lost case for me," and we stopped connection.
And
We stopped conversation.
even she used the
Yes,
same
you
word.
are
You
lost.
you are lost case. Even she continues to
Yeah, you
use
are
the
lost
word.
case. She said to me.
Yeah. So let's see the differences. I tried to put a word. I found it in the Google Translate. I saw it. It's a Moroccan word. How you pronounce it in Arabic?
Chérie.
Cherry. Like, what does it mean? It's love, right?
Chérie.
Cherry.
In
Okay.
in Arabic, it means love or honey or darling or
Yeah,
something.
love. I looked for love, and it comes out with cherry.
Yeah.
How about this one? Can you pronounce it? How will you
Seher,
Love.
say
pronounce
it. Today is a
love?
single day.
Yeah, that's why I
Say it
choose
one more
that one.
time. Love.
Okay. How about this one?
Amour.
Amor. Perfect. This one?
Amare.
Amare.
I don't know
Amare, yes.
which language is that.
Spanish, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
Spanish.
Yeah. How about
Spanish is
this?
okay.
How about this one?
Abdelhak, say this in Chinese.
Can you pronounce it?
Oh,
No?
no.
Okay. Even the other ones, we don't know the language, we try to pronounce it, but not this one, right? So why I show you that? The reason is most of the time in the office environment, we don't feel ourselves valued, or we think that our leaders or colleagues sometimes don't respect our opinions, our feelings, or sometimes in the personal relationships, we don't feel ourselves be loved by the others. right? And the reason is, how do you understand or feel someone really loves you? Sorry for the typo. I just realized that there are two typos, but we can focus on the meaning. How do you understand?
Feel someone.
Yeah. How do you understand someone really values you? What is the sign? What are the type of behaviors that you feel yourself valued?
So what Bendu says, by actions.
Okay, what kind of
Which
actions, for example?
actions? Yeah. What actions?
Well,
Like taking care.
Taking
Maybe.
care, okay.
listening.
Okay, Sahar.
And how you understand if he or she taking care of you?
Be helpful, I think.
Okay, be helpful. Perfect.
Yeah.
Another example?
What else? Understanding. So what Bendu is saying. Understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Very good.
Supporting too.
Can you repeat it?
Supporting,
Oh,
like
supporting,
you
okay.
want to support.
Yeah.
Supporting, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The psychologists say that there are 5 ways of showing this, and these are the ones that you see in the screen. The first one is confirming words, like supporting ones, like, oh, Erdem, you really made a good job today, huh? You never heard it, Erdem. And the second one is spending quality time together, like maybe drinking coffee or having a tea and talking about the daily problems, or going somewhere different and spending time together. The third one is giving gifts. For example, it's a sign to show that our love. The
It's
other
the
one is,
most important, actually.
which one? The third one?
Giving gifts.
Okay.
Giving gifts.
I will come to that. I will come to that. The fourth one is service
Which kind
action.
of gifts? He's like,
Yeah. The fourth one is the service actions, like sporting, or maybe doing the job at home, like maybe cleaning the dishes or making the table, cleaning the house, sometimes taking the garbage out. That kind of service actions can work. Or at the work, when one of the colleagues help you for one of your reports, then you said that people respect you or they love you, right? And the fifth one is physical contact, especially between the couples. Even you buy the most expensive gift, or if you give the best words, sometimes people can complain about the physical emotions, and the hugging and kissing is not present, then they don't feel themselves loved, right? So these are the 5 especially key parameters, or the signs, that we use. And from these 5 items, one of them is dominant compared to other 4. Like one of our colleagues says that, say that the third one is the giving gift is the most important one, but it may not be true for another person in this group. Everyone needs them, but one of them is dominant. And this is like a language that you learn from your parents when you were born. For example, I was born in Turkey and I learned Turkish language by default from my mother and my father. And it is the same thing for these 5 items that you learn from your father and mother at home without knowing it. For example, if your mother shows her love to her kids, by making a lot of service at home, like cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids, taking care of the father, doing everything. That becomes the way of showing love for her. And then you also learn it from your mother unconsciously. Or your father comes to home by gifts when you were kids. And if this is the way how he shows your love, how he shows his love, then you also learn it. Or you say, that's how people show their love to each other. So you start buying gifts to your girlfriend when you have a problem, but sometimes the girl complains about not spending enough time together, right?
By the way, Sarp, if anyone wants to become a friend with Ahmet Ali Selim, don't be. Ahmet Ali says, if anyone gives me $1 million as a gift, he or she will be my best friend forever. Thank you, Ahmet Ali Selim, to showing your true face to us.
It may be true, it may be true, sometimes uh, uh, I also do the relationship coaching, and one of the ladies was complaining about this gift. She said that we are married for 20 years and my husband never bought me a pack of flowers in the last 20 years, because this is the way she sees that her husband loves her, by giving gifts, because this is her language, like the five words that I show you at the beginning. But
Excuse me, this is too much for 20 years old. This is
yeah,
too much. Come on.
yes, yeah,
He's stingy.
right. But the husband, he says that he loves her, but she will, he will not buy a flower for her because she's always complaining about it since the beginning of the marriage. That's why it becomes a problem with that. And he insists not to buy it, because he says that I really love her. Buying a flower doesn't mean or doesn't show my love to her. I already told her several times that I love you and I love her. But confirming words, the first one is the language for the man, the dominant language, because he says, I already told it. I say it several times that I love her, but she doesn't really show it in the behavior because the wife's dominant language was taking gifts, right? So it's not matching. They don't even speak the same language. Even that time, for example, maybe you had similar relationships. Your partner told you that you really love, uh, I mean, he or she really loves you, but you don't believe it because you don't see the behavior, you don't see the act, because you are waiting for your dominant type of the behavior to be shown by the others. So, in order to include everyone, we should start to learn other languages. We should start to use other languages, like learning a new language, you know, because you are also representing one of the dominant way in your all relationships. For example, maybe your line manager is not confirming you after you do a good job. But if your dominant language is confirming words, you will not feel yourself confident in the workplace because you never get this feeling, right? Or I will also give you a real life example from one of my experiences, like 4 or 5 years ago. Uh, I was visiting a terminal in Turkey, and I met a security guard at the gate, and that day was really busy, and he was taking care of the trucks and taking care of the drivers who were entering the plant. And he was really making the job really good, especially for the other ones. He was very detailed, organized, and taking care of everything in order to do checklists. So when I was leaving, I just touched his shoulder and thank him. His name was Zeki. I told him Zeki Bey. Yeah, like Mr. Zeki, I would like to thank you especially for the efforts that I observed today. It was a pleasure to see that you are here, and I feel myself very confident that we have a such person in our team that taking care of all the security risks. And then in a couple of seconds, he replied to me and he said, I have been working in this company for 6 years, and it's the first time someone touched me on my shoulder and thanked me. I really appreciate that, he said. And after that time, whenever I go to this terminal, when he sees me, he always approaches me and welcomes me at the gate. That was the only thing that I did. I just used one of the dominant languages that he might be, but I wasn't aware. It worked, you know? So we don't know which is the dominant language in our teams, in our relations. So we have to figure out the dominant language and try to use all of them as fast as possible. So, for example, when I go to a meeting in a different country, I also bring some magnets to my team members. I have a team of 5 colleagues. So I bought like very small uh, refrigerator magnets to each of them from that city. And one of the ladies were really, really happy, you know, because I understood that her language was taking gifts, but not the others. So it worked for one of them. She felt herself valued. But for the next one, I tried to spend quality time. I told to her for another lady, let's have a chat, let's have a coffee talk. Let's spend 15 minutes. How is everything going? How are you doing in the job? Do you need any support? How can I help you? What kind of support do you need from me to improve your skills? And after a couple of conversations, she mentioned that, oh, Sarp is a good leader. He's spending time with me in the office without I requested. Why? Because her dominant language was spending quality time. That's how she feels herself valued. So as a leader, we have to use all these skills as much as possible and then try to find out which is the right way. And even in our relationships, you can ask this question to your partner or imagine or guess what might be your partner's dominant language. Have you ever thought about it?
Can I share?
Yeah, sure.
First of all, I love how you define these 5 things as love languages. I
Mhm,
personally came across all of them,
mhm,
but what I don't quite understand is you said that the dominant one is basically the one we picked up from our parents, or that's what we grew up with.
mhm,
I personally grew up in a house where there's no showing of love, but it's basically done through actions. So, my mom is like, if I cooked for you and I did the cleaning and all, that's me loving you. I don't need to say it, or I don't
mhm,
need to give you gifts. So I
mhm,
grew up with that. And then with my husband, I think I really appreciate the quality time we have
mhm,
because I feel like that's the thing I lacked. My mother and father were both always working, so we
mhm.
never had quality time. And now the quality time I have with my husband, I feel like that's what I really appreciate.
Right. That's correct. Yeah. So what was your question exactly in that one?
Because I feel because you said that the dominant part is what we picked up from the family. So
Mhm.
how is my dominant part is what I lacked in my family?
Oh yeah, this is like it comes with default by, but during the time you can also change it or
Yeah.
learn another language by the person that is in your life. Like for example, I was born in Turkey and I learned Turkish default, but I can also start learning English after 10 years old, right? As a
Yeah.
second language. So it's the really same thing. Now, one of the dominant parts might change during time, or you can also use this 5 items equally.
That's true.
Yeah. So that's why we have to try and also improve ourselves, not to go only one dominant type. Because I can give you many examples, or you can also see around yourself when couples complain about each other. For example, sometimes they say that they are not spending quality time with each other. But when you look at the gifts, for example, uh, they sometimes buy gifts to each other, but it's not enough.
Yeah.
Or maybe a housewife can complain about the husband when he is not taking out the garbage or helping her in the kitchen. She said, I don't want any gifts or I don't want any good words. I just need some help when I need it, and you are not here. So it is the same mentality in the workplace, okay? You can use it with your line manager as well. Just try to imagine the dominant type for your line manager and try to use it. Like if it is most of the time the confirming words, you can do it. Yeah, you made a really good job. You made a really good leadership. If you are authentic, I don't want you to lie. When you feel it, when you see the signs, when you really believe that he or she made a really good thing, you can just mention that. I know it's hard at the beginning, but remember that we are practicing. So these are some examples, about confirming
You
words,
pick one of
especially.
this.
Yeah,
So,
please go
by the
ahead.
way, I think there is no need to pick just one of them, right?
Right, right.
Maybe two of them or three of them we can have it,
Hmm. Hmm.
or maybe five of them we have it. When we see the signs of these dominant parts, we
Right,
can appreciate for them.
exactly. And try to use all of them. After a while, it becomes uh, like by default. For example, for the confirming words, when I learned this in a training, I used a taxi. And by coincidence, the taxi was very clean. I sat in the back seats, but the guy also put some magazines at the back side of the front seats. And he also put some daily newspaper, but the cabinet was really smelling good and it was really cleaned. I can feel it when I said it. And uh, I tried to use the confirming words example because until that time I was not really, really practicing that one. And I told the driver that, oh, this is one of the most cleanest taxis that I have ever used in Istanbul. And when he was driving, he just turned back and, oh, really? I'm really happy to hear that. I see the big smile in his face. And then he started explaining me how he starts the day, clean his taxi, gets for the newspapers and magazines from the store and put them, you know, for the customers. Even maybe for 3 or 4 minutes, he tried to continue the conversation. And it was a short trip, maybe like only 15 Turkish liras. But when I was trying to pay him, he didn't even ask for the money. He said, I don't want to get the money from you. The confirmation and the appraisal was enough for me because he said, None of the customers for a long time mentioned about it, but I did it for my customers, and none of the people just mention about it. You know what I mean, right? That's what people need. That's what they
If
wait for.
if I may add something or clear
Sure,
something.
sure, sure.
Okay, so it's like this situation. Suppose in these five languages, I have one language. Suppose I have a confirming word language,
Mhm,
and I have four partners who has one is like quality time, another is giving gift, another is
mhm.
service action and physical contact. So while I am trying to learning their language and talk to them with their languages, should I also like share my language too? Like when I'm like having spending quality times, should I also like share them that for my language I love being confirmed, like confirming words. So
Mhm.
if they do confirming words for me, I would be happy or I would be inspired too. So
Right.
that way I can like learn their languages and they can also like learn how to talk to me.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
just wanted to confirm it. Like
Right.
if
That's correct. You can just mention that I joined the training and I learned a very interesting topic that I would like to mention to you. One of the, aha moments was I realized that my dominant language is confirming words. So I feel myself valued or powered. You know, I feel myself more energetic when I hear some confirming words from my colleagues. So I just want to share with you that. And the reason is many times, especially for the guys, it's very common in Turkish culture. Usually, mothers are always promoting the sons, right? Whenever you do something wrong, they always compliment, oh, my loud son did the right thing. He's very clever. He is very smart. I love my son. That kind of words all the time the sons get from their mothers. But on the other hand, when you get into the relationship, if you are lack of this confirmed words from your mother, I mean from your partner, then you look for it and you wait for it. And that's why most of the guys try to spend their time with their mothers, especially to feed that feeling, you know, and then the wives can start complaining and then the relation goes somewhere else. But this is one of the observations that I see. So
so
confirming
not
words
about
is
the relationship, but I do agree about my mother part. Like if something happens or something wrong or sad, like whom should I go? And if you can go to a partner, like
mm,
you a certain option, and next option will be your mother.
right,
Something like to confirm and to get
right.
okay, everything's gonna be fine.
Yeah, that's correct. And most of the time, the dominant languages match, at the beginning. Like if you need confirming words, then you like someone who really makes the confirming words in your life, because you feel yourself understood by her or you feel yourself valued for her. That's why it really matters. So it's one of the key topics. And these are the some pictures, like giving gifts and service actions supporting each other. And you can use it in the workplace when someone is overloaded in the organization. You can just or ask for offer. Is there anything that I can help for you? Just send me the report. I can check it for you or the presentation. uh, just send it to me and I can quickly overview it and make a comment for you. When you are available, just try to make it as much as possible. And this is one of the examples for physical contact. Of course, a cultural issue, but sometimes people are very critical when they are touch on the shoulder and proud in front of the other colleagues. So try to make it as much as possible. And what does happen if this dominant languages doesn't match and we don't make them enough? in our conversations, in our relationships, then uh, our relationships suffer, right? Because one of the lady psychologists, Carol Roswald, you see her picture in the slide, mentions that in every relationship there is a reward and there is a cost. Okay. For example, imagine a couple. For example, they are living in different cities, and the guy is very busy. He is always saying that he is not able to travel. So the lady is visiting him at the weekends. So she's making her luggage, getting an airplane, and goes to his city, uh, at the weekend and spend time together. But when we look at the cost, the lady is spending her time extra for the travel, and also she's spending her money for the travel. So this lady says, if you are paying from your time, from your money into a relation, then you become addicted to the other side by the time, and you start doing more because we have to get the balance, the reward that we take from the relationship and the cost that we pay for the relationship. And it is again the same thing for the companies. If you are, spending your time extra for the company in the nights, in your weekends, instead of spending time with your children, with your family members, you do the job for the company, then by the time you become addicted to the company because you are the one paying more. And after 5 or 10 years, people say that, oh, I can't leave this company because I have been working for them for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. It's really hard to leave the company. That means you are paying more in the relationship. And by the time, if the balance is lost, if you are the one who is paying more, that means you will get more and you will pay more cost. Because this lady says that every individual, every people try to organize their interactions in a way that they maximize their rewards and minimize their costs. That's why you get overdose. That's why you are getting additional stuff. You're getting additional tax on each other every month, every day, every week, because you continue to do that. You continue to do that. It's not wrong. Of course, we will do that, but we have to keep the balance. And it doesn't really work. What happens? There are 4 steps. The first one is when there is something wrong in the relationship. What is the first step? You see it in the screen, but I just want to hear some different voice as well. So when we start,
Communication.
yeah, communication, right? The fake one, the fake solution at the beginning. We start communicating. Oh, we have an issue that we have to talk. There's a subject I want to talk with you, right? Because the first thing is to discuss the problem and ask for help, or sometimes ask the person to change their behaviors, because we paid a lot to the relationship. We paid a lot of cost to the company. How many times you try to talk to your line manager? How many times you emphasize your feelings or the expectations but never change, right? Because the second step is that people optimistically expects the situation to improve. When you have a problem with your partner, you say you don't like this behavior and please stop it, never do it again. I don't like it. and then you start expecting the situation to improve, but it doesn't happen. We believe that it will change, but most of the time doesn't. And the third step, the thing gets worse. It worsens because now you are waiting for a change and it doesn't happen, and then you start to lose your belief. You start to wait until something happens, until something changes, but it doesn't happen. Especially when the relationship gets worse, the fourth and the final step pops up, ending the relationship, not only with the partner, even with the company. You start thinking about quitting the job. You start thinking about looking for another job because you already tried the first three steps, but nothing changed, right? And then they say, oh, I am a skilled person. There are many companies outside. Of course, I can find a job, or I can find another person. I have many options. So why should I continue? This is the four steps. This is default, everyone does it. But the starting point is especially believing that the communication is a fake solution. That's why we start with a wrong belief instead of using and improving our dominant languages, the love languages, showing our respect to people and changing our behaviors. So I will just summarize the first part of the session. First of all, I would like to remember that do not use you word in discussions rather than just mention your feelings and how you wait for the behavior from everyone, and explain clearly what you are thinking and feeling. I don't feel myself as a good leader when someone in my teams comes to the meeting late, for example. It's better than saying you are always late to our meetings. You know. The third one, don't promise anyone anything. Just make a surprise instead of promising, because if your line manager promise you anything and if they don't do it, then you lose your belief. You will lose your faith into the organization, into the person. Like, for example, next year we will make a raise for you. I will make a bonus for you. But if it doesn't happen somehow, then you will create an expectation from the team members, right? So instead of that, just maybe tell them a later date, like maybe tell them, I will make a promotion in 6 months. If you know that you will do it in a couple of months, it will be better. So they will be happy if you do it early, right? Rather than delaying it. So it's one of the tips that I really use and it really works. And then if you are paying the price, try to balance it. For example, imagine the lady, she maybe visit her boyfriend for 3 months, but the guy never visited her in her city. And after the 3 months, they broke up, because the guy didn't pay any cost for the relationship. He didn't spend any extra time for the relationship. So what she should do, after she goes there twice or three times, then she should say, oh, I came to your city 3 times. Now it's your turn. If he doesn't show up, then you have to quit. That's an early sign. Rather than spending 3 months, 4 months and visiting him in the city, you are paying the price, so you should balance it. And the last item is about the languages, of course. Identify the person language, try to guess it, try to test it, and use it as much as possible. So this is the summary of the first part. Is there any questions or unclear points or any comments that you guys want to share?
Will be very crucial advices and suggestions. Thanks again. And anyone who wants to share their feelings, opinions, examples?
How does it
I
feel?
want to ask a
Yeah.
question
Yeah.
to Mr.
Sure.
Sarp. In first part, you listed 5 ways to showing love.
Mhm.
And you said that most of the time there is one that which is the most important to the person, and you have to find it. But when it comes to us, how do we find which one is the most important and most effective to ours? Because when you list those things, I think that each of them is equally important for me. But I don't know which is the most important way of someone to show me. So is there any way how to find this?
Yeah, there are 2 ways, Mert. Thanks for the question. The first one is if your partner should prefer one of these items, which one you will go first?
Yeah, I would say I can't choose one.
Yeah, just try to eliminate first 3 of them, then you can pick one. Or you can just do the same thing from the opposite way. Which one can you live without your partner doing it, you know? For example, can you live, for example, if she doesn't buy you any gift for maybe 5 years, but she does the other 4, you can start eliminating. But I also want to mention that in some of the surveys, some people also have the same amount of percentage for 2 of the items, right? So it may happen too. But this is a problem for your partner. Because it's always manageable for the partner if there is only one dominant one rather than 5 dominant items, you know. So try to focus on the first one. But of course, if you need other ones, you should also mention her that you need to talk and maybe share the feeling about it.
Okay, thank you.
But one of the ways to improve it, for example, when they did it, for example, the confirming words, and your partner doesn't do it many times, or she does rarely it, you can just mention the feeling like, I really like when you make a comment about my successes at work. You know, you can just mention the feeling. For example, when they spend the quality time with you, even it's a line manager or if it's a colleague, you can just say, I would like to thank you. I will really appreciate that the quality time that you spent with me yesterday. It was really nice of you. You know, it was a really good sign of a leadership. I really feel myself valued. Just feel the sense and make your comments. It also opens a dialogue, an authentic dialogue with the people, you know. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mart. Any other comments? Any insights? Are we all good?
Yeah, I think they are good.
Yeah.
I think they are thinking about their lives. They improved their leadership skills.
Actually, I have a great example about my first
relationship skills. Just continue.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
I have a great example about my first experience as a manager. It was catastrophic, and maybe I should listen the second part and then I will get all together. But I can see that I wasn't paying the price that I can see it now, and I couldn't show the love. Actually, I couldn't understand what they need. They need words. They need to confront them, or they need gift. I couldn't understand my team.
Right.
Then I hope I will understand more of my mistakes in the second part, and I will give some details about that experience later.
Okay, Ali, thank you very much. And it's a good topic, especially with your team members as well, huh? Because you can just pop up these 5 items and then ask them individually, how do you feel yourself valued? Which of the items you think you are dominant? And it really makes you a great team by the time, because if you start talking about this, then the team members also can learn from each other characteristics and behaviors, and then they can try to also demonstrate them in the organization. And as a leader, if you can start and try to make an open conversation with them, they will also start to open themselves to you. So you can use that topic as well in the organization anytime.
Maybe it was one of the mistakes, because in my first experience, and I got an advice like, don't be your. How can I say? I like talking much, and I like becoming friends with my colleagues. But I got an advice that don't be friends with your employees, with your team. Don't be friends with your teams. Show your power and make them respect you. I think it was a terrible idea for myself. Some other people may use this idea, and I don't know, they got better experiences than me. But in my case, I couldn't be a tough guy. I couldn't show them, oh, I'm an angry manager, do what I want. I couldn't show them. But I tried it. I tried it. So I couldn't have. I couldn't. How can I say? Share quality time with them. So I could, and in that case, they don't have a chance to understand, to tell themselves.
Right.
We couldn't speak, and they couldn't tell me what they need.
Yeah, because most probably you were not authentic.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Because
I was
that
faking.
thought, yeah, and you were acting like an actor or like a theater, because this belief is not one of your beliefs, being a different leader, because it's not you. It was someone else's belief or opinion. So we take some people's opinions and try to behave in that format. It doesn't really match with our soul, with our body. It doesn't fit on you. It's like a suit. It doesn't fit on you, and people see it. Your team members see it. They realize it. They feel it, and that's why
You
they
don't have to
put
be a
it
tough
below
guy,
you.
by the way.
Sorry?
You don't have to be a tough guy.
Yeah, this is not.
Yeah, I don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It was something different. The first time being a manager, and getting a maybe wrong advice, or a good advice from wrong man, because I'm sure that the guy who gave that advice to me is my friend and try to be supportive. And he's using this method, and he's quite good. He's doing quite good. And he tried to show me what he believes or what he can do, but it doesn't fit to me.
Right. But that's a good learning, huh?
Yeah,
Thanks for
they
sharing,
fired me. They fired after 6 months, and I never managed it because I start my own business, and I'm not planning to. For now, I'm not planning to work with a big team.
Perfect. Okay, now let's talk about the situational leadership. This is also a similar subject with the organizations as well, but it's a kind of new concept in the global organizations, and it is called as situational leadership. And for the last 5 years, it's becoming commonly used in the most organization. So how we define a leadership? What is the key parameters for the definition of leadership? Any guess?
Being a good example for your team and a good model to follow.
Perfect. Being a model, being an example. Right. That's pretty much correct. And for the leadership, there are two objectives. Yeah. Yes, Yusuf.
Okay, to be able to lead your team to achieve the targets.
Right. So that's correct. Thanks, Yusuf. For the leadership definition, there are two objectives. First of all, you need a point A and a point B. So the point A is the current status, and the point B is the target status that you want to achieve or you want to go. So you are leading a team to go from point A to point B. And that is one of the critical items in a leadership, that you have to have the vision or the path that you want to take your followers. And for a leadership, of course, you need at least one follower. Without any followers or without any point B, there isn't any leadership. So this is commonly pretty much known by everyone, but today we will discuss about the situational leadership. So what might be the difference between the regular leadership and the situational leadership? What do you think? What might be the difference?
Situational leadership, maybe it's the leadership that depends on the situations.
Right. Can you give maybe an example?
No, not right now. By the way, Nessa said being a visionary and inspiring people about the definition of the leadership.
Right. Yeah, that's correct. And pretty much it's like the dominant body language, the love language. We have also a dominant type of a leadership, very similar. Like Ali mentioned, the leadership that he was not able to achieve in the organization. He wasn't maybe able to be a rough leader. That's one of the characteristics, but he doesn't have to be. So that means his friend who gave him the advice was much more rough character. He is rough to everyone maybe, or he is more rough than the other leaders because he is showing this attitude to most of the people when he has a similar example or similar behavior in the organization. So most of the time leaders show the same type of behavior to the people. Like during the conversation, Erdem mentioned his supervisor and they have a problem. So most probably when she's in a conversation with Erdem, she will act the same way, right, Erdem? Is it correct?
Yes.
Okay. Because most probably she's not knowing about the situational leadership. So what is situational leadership? Situational leadership says that every individual goes through 4 different steps in each different task. And these are G1, G2, G3, G4. They are called from 1 to 4, 4 different steps according to the beginning of the task that you are learning. And by the time it goes from right to left side, you become more capable and more performer. And at the beginning, you are very enthusiastic. You know, you don't have any competency, but you have high commitment. For example, imagine the time you start driving. You don't have any experience. You were not in the traffic before. You haven't sit in the driver's seat before. And how was the feeling? Can you just recall that moment? Anyone wants to share it? How was the feeling? How was the time that you start driving?
Sumaya says, great feeling. She was
Okay.
excited.
Okay. Who was the teacher who was teaching you about the driving?
I
Sometimes
think
father,
she's
sometimes
writing,
okay,
typing.
sometimes family members, sometimes husbands teach to the wives with arguments and fights.
Driving instructor, she says.
Okay. Okay, imagine that time, right? When you are at the beginning, you don't know how to use in the traffic, you were maybe in stress, but you have a high commitment, you were really excited. And by the time when you are in the traffic, yeah, is there any comment? After a while, when you start driving in the traffic, you have some competency, but sometimes you feel yourself scared. Sometimes you press the brake, you know, in advance. You really go slow. People in the behind, you know, just horns you, make the headlights, and then you know they may sometimes complain about you in the traffic. But after a couple of days, now you are moderate with the high competency, and you can even drive alone, right, in the traffic. And after a while, after a couple of months, maybe after 6 months, 1 year, now you don't need a driver instructor next to you. You can go anywhere alone with high competency and high commitment. Even you can text and drive. You can check your messages when you are driving. Because now you are self-achiever. You don't need anyone. And by the time, you can also teach how to drive to someone else because now you can called an expert in driving. So that means you completed these 4 steps in driving. Is it clear?
Yes.
I think it's clear for everyone.
Okay. Now we are getting into it. So imagine I have a team member who is 40 years old. Okay. He is a very old and experienced guy in production area. And he is using a production machine for 10 years. Most probably, he is in G4 level because he is using this machine for the last 10 years. And now this guy has 10 years experience in production. He already started the factory at the beginning of the first day, right? He's the foreman, he's the most experienced guy. But one day, we have decided to buy an automated machine, a new automated machine to the factory. and I have still the same colleague in my team. So what is his skill level now, according to this table?
He is back to G1.
Right. He's back to G1 because he is a new beginner for this machine. But I have a very good and very nice relationship with him. He is one of my best team members. He is really good in his work. So when there is a new machine, as a leader, I can say, let's say his name is Mark, and I can say, oh, Mark, you have 10 years experience, you know the work, you're a good producer, you know the items, and you can just start working without making any leadership to it. I just left everything to them. And I said at the end, oh, if you have a problem, please feel free to come to my office. You can just pop in and ask me when you need help. He's G1 in this machine because it's the first time. But in the factory for another machine, he's still G4. So situational leadership says that as a situational leader, for each task, you have to first diagnose the task and the person capability before presenting a leadership style according to these four different types. You have to act differently according to these four types. And by the time, after a while, when these colleagues start to use the machine, maybe in 3 days or 4 days, he will be in G2, he will be in G3, and at the end, he will be in G4. For some of the tasks, it will be in minutes. For some of the tasks, it will be in hours. For some of the tasks, it might be years and years to go from one stage to another stage. For example, let's say about learning English. Imagine the time that you have to register yourself into a English class, an English course. You have low competency, you don't know many words in English, but you have very high commitment at the beginning. And in the first day, you are G1. So after a while, you just learn some words, you memorize them, but your commitment gets lower because now you are scared because there are many uh, formulas, there are many words you have to memorize, and you try to study, but it doesn't work because you have low commitment. And at that time, if you don't get the right leadership from anyone, you will be stuck in G2 level and you will not be able to learn the English anymore because the only thing that you need to step from G2 to G3 is the right coaching and the right leadership. It's the same thing for the work. It's the same thing for the tasks. If people get the right leadership, they will not be able to go from G2 to G3 or to G4. Never. Because the really leadership doesn't match with their skills. So is it clear until so far? The four different types and the four different status for each task?
Yes, it's
Yes.
clear, yes.
Okay. So by the time at the beginning of each task, you have a high commitment, you feel yourself very energetic, you are very proud to start the work, But by the time you are demoralized, and by the time you start losing your energy, your belief, and you got stuck in G2. And in order to go from G2 to G3, you need to ask many, many times how to do the task. You need some additional support, some coaching, or some additional leadership to
Yes,
be
and
achievable.
motivation too.
Right, some motivation to go to G3.
Yeah.
Someone needs to say you, oh, you are doing a great job, you made a good start, you are really doing well. So that kind of stuff you need to go from G2 to G3. Let's see the other table, the examples of the each level. So it will help us to understand the different types or the observations. So at the beginning, the G1 is always new to the task. Imagine the first day you start your company. You don't know anyone, you don't know the task, you are very excited, you are waiting to show yourself, and you are very willing to take direction, you are eager to learn, you are very optimistic, excited. You don't know what they don't know, so you may do wrong things, but you have some confidence, right? And by the time you start working, you got some new uh, skills. They are not competent yet, but you start frustrating. You feel yourself discouraged. You say, oh man, how I will manage all of this stuff? It's too much. And by the time, sometimes you need directions. So sometimes you need to ask your line manager or the colleagues, oh, I have a question. How you do this? You are unsure. You are not feel confident to make a decision. When you write a message before sending it to other managers, you need a confirmation and approval. So you ask your line manager or one of your friends, oh, can you please check this email? Is it correct? Should I send it? How does it look? Because you need some confirmation if you are in G3. You need approval. You always ask the same question because you are not self-directed yet until you become G4. By the time, if you do it many, maybe days, many months, then you learn the job and you become competent, and you don't even ask to other people what are the requirements, and you start to be trusted by other people. You are very proactive, and other people ask your opinion. You are seen as an expert in this task, right? But these 4 steps has also some uh, disadvantages. Like G1 at the beginning, he is not very competent, but in G4, if you stay in this task for many years, then you will become bored.
Mm.
Because you will say, oh, I have doing this job for many years, for 3 years, for 5 years in this company. I am not learning anything. I am not improving myself. So maybe I should look for another position, or maybe I should look for another company. Because if someone stays in the G4 level for a long time, they will get bored. This is the human psychology. So what you should do as a leader, you have to start them from the beginning. You have to give them another task and take them to G1 so they can turn into circles, into cycles, and rather than staying in a G4 or G3 level for a long time, they will start another level from the beginning. For example, uh, I'm managing uh, truck drivers in my organization in the logistics department, and we have experienced drivers. We call them like the experts who are driving trucks more than 10 years, 15 years. So they are in G4 level. But as I said, being as a driver, they might be bored in this organization. So what we do them, we select them as a trainer for the new joiners and ask them to become the trainer of a new driver in the cabin. They make a journey with them and observe the new driver's failures in a checklist. So this is a new task. This is a G1 item for the experienced drivers. And by the time, by doing these observations, they become G2, G3, and G4 again. So this is how you can manage your team and improve their skills in different styles, right? Is there any question until so far? Because the next slide I will show you is the behaviors for the leaders, how you need to approach for this type of people in the next slide.
No, I think so far so clear.
Okay.
Yes, everything
So,
is clear.
okay. These are the actually 4 styles. This is called by S, coming from the style abbreviation. S1, S2, S3, and S4 are the types or the models that a leader should behave for the G1, G2, G3, and G4 level. So for the first step, when there is a new joiner or when there is a G1 colleague in the organization, the leader must be directing. This is a rule. For example, Erdem is a new contractor in our company and he will work as a truck driver, okay? He comes to our terminal
Like
and
trucks.
yeah, in a truck, and I am the terminal manager, I am the line manager, and he is new into our terminal. It's the first time. So he is G1. Even he has 15 years truck driving experience. Since it is the first time in my terminal, he is G1. Even he is 55 years old. It doesn't matter. I should look at the task and the person as a leader, and I should be directing to it. And I say, welcome, Erdem.
Welcome.
My name is Sarp. I am the logistics manager here. When you are in the terminal, you should put your helmet and safety shoes. You should never climb on the track without using your safety belt.
Should be speaking.
Even in the organization, even in the office environment, if there is a new joiner, you should be the directing because you are the leader. So you said, okay, we come to the office at 8:30 sharp. Then the first thing, we start our daily toolbox every minute, every day for 15 minutes. Then you should send me the reports to my email address until 9 o'clock. This is the way that you have to talk. After it start beginning, Erdem will get into the S2 level because he get the direction. I told him now I should move to the coaching style. When Erdem enters in the second time, hi Erdem, welcome to the terminal. I observed that you are using your helmet, you are using the safety belt. Thanks for that. Thanks for your commitment. You are doing really good. The only comment that I can make you is your safety shoes. Please also make sure that they are also in good shape. Now, I am making the coaching. Or even an example from office environment, I do the coaching to Erdem as a new joiner. In the second week, hi Erdem, the first week was over, but I really like the emails and the reports that you sent me last week. But I just have some improvement areas. Maybe I can share with them to you. But you made a really good start. And then after 1 month, maybe, then I make the same similar conversation with Erdem for this topic on the sporting part. How is it going, Erdem? Do you need any support from me? Do you need any kind of information, any additional tasks that I can help you? This is the supporting part as a leader for this one. But during that time, after 3 months or after 3 weeks, there might be a new, for example, report that must be done by Erdem. So Erdem is in the organization for 3 months. I just made a conversation yesterday with him in the sporting format, but there is a monthly report in a PowerPoint organized slide pack that Erdem will prepare for me. So what is the level for Erdem now? For the new report? What do you think?
You will not answer because the example is me.
Okay. Erdem is in the organization for 3 weeks, and it is the first time I will ask him to prepare a report for the first time. What is Erdem's status?
Sorry,
for the first time.
directing?
Yes, directing, because Erdem is now G1 in this report.
Yes, because it's for the first time.
Right. I can't say, oh, Erdem, just send me a report. I have a meeting tomorrow.
Yes.
You are in the organization for 3 weeks. Now you can just prepare a presentation. No, that's not the correct way. I should give him the directing message. Look, Erdem, we have a meeting tomorrow. I want you to prepare 3 slides. In the first slide, just make a summary of November sales and put a pie chart. In the second slide, just put a picture from our customers, from the field. And in the third slide, share our weekly meeting plan for December. Now he is in the directing approach for his first annual report. And when he does it, then I should do the coaching. Oh, Erdem, that's really nice of you. That's what I wait from you. Just let's change the picture with a newer version. But thanks for all your efforts. Now I can do the coaching. And the second time, Erdem will be much more confident to prepare the other one. But what happens in the real life, unfortunately, leaders ask for a report or for a presentation without giving the directions. And you send them and they say, oh, I didn't ask for that way. That's something that I didn't want. Let's change it. But you don't know how to change it. You just imagine. And they think that you are lost. They think that you don't understand the business. They think that you don't know how to prepare a slide because you don't have the enough direction.
So this chart says that your leadership shouldn't be a constant leadership skill, okay?
No.
So you, yeah. Ay,
But-
bu arada yavaş yavaş hızlanalım istersen biraz.
And this is and this is also the same thing, right? For example, you remember our colleague at the beginning. He was an experienced guy in the machine format in the production. He is a G4 level, right? He's in the G4. He knows the business. He has the skills. And you are a new manager in the organization. If you approach that colleague and speak in the directing mode, then you will have a conflict. Because the person will think that, oh, I do this business for 10 years. He comes and he is directing me because he is an expert. You can't talk in a directive way to someone who is in the G4 level. You should just delegate it to it. Hey, Mark, you are confident in the production. I just leave it to you. You take the lead and you take the decision. That's it. That's the way. If they are expert, you just delegate them. So S1, S2, S3, and S4 are the situational leadership that we have to present. And this is a summary for the situational leadership. First of all, we have to make a diagnosis to determine the person's level of development, and then also follow the process, because by the time they will go from G1, G2, GT3 to G4 in that task, and follow the performance. For example, if we come to the G3 level, if someone is always asking you the same questions, if they always asking you the approval, then they need to go to G4. That's a sign. If you have someone in the team asking you the same topic many times and wait for the approval, that means he's or she is stuck in the G3 level. Is not getting the right leadership to go to the G4 level. So this is a sign that you can understand, and remember 4 steps to use in your leadership organizations. So that was all from my side for today. It was very enjoyable with me. Thanks for the participants and the comments.
And for us, it's really amazing, Sarp. Thank you for your sharing, and really, I've learned too much from your experience, from your charts and advices also. And I hope everyone enjoyed this event also. And if you have any comments or opinions, just you can share and speak up.
Yep.
Oh, well, not opinions or comments, but as he said, I then said, and the thing is, I faced like what he said, not about the leadership, but the opposite. In the last job, as I said in the last way, I quit phases, but they are asking something else from me. Like when I was phase 3, they are asking for me phase 4. Like, oh, you are like for last 2 years you are here, but I got transferred into another department,
Right.
and then
Right.
they're asking me like I became the G1 level, but they're asking me for G4. Like
Right.
you
Right.
are spending like 2 years here. Why didn't why we ask telling them that I already turned into G1 again, because I in this department I have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah. When you know this chart.
so I understand the situation how exactly.
Right.
By the way, so you should teach this chart to your manager or to your colleague as well.
Yeah, not teach, but you can ask the same leadership style. For example, when they ask you to prepare a new slide, you may say, I might need some more direction. Or for the coaching or sporting part, I need your support for this topic. You know, you can approach in that format as well.
Yeah, actually, that's really helping part, because I know like there are 4 parts and I can assess myself like which part am I in, like am I a G1 or G3, and what I need, what I can ask for from them.
Exactly.
And if I put in a leadership position, I can also like tell them like what they want or which level they are. I can ask them and get the how should I act like them, and I can send the chart for my previous office and send them. You should treated me like this.
Great.
That's correct. That's correct. Thanks for the nice.
Yeah, really very useful informations.
Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it. I really enjoy it. And thanks for inviting me to GSI, Feliz, and Erdem to you.
Always.
Yeah,
And also I want to thank JCI Casaimpact members and all
sure.
of the attenders also for being with us tonight. And if there's someone to share something with us.
I just want to say
I don't want
thank
to
you.
just shut down all the session just at once.
I just want to say to Mr. Sarp, thank you so much for all the valuable and practical information. I wish we had more than 2 hours with you. Really, I feel like it's not enough. But yeah, thank you so much. We benefited a lot from it, and thank you to the organizers.
Yeah, şükran. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Çok teşekkür ederim.
Biz teşekkür ederiz. Maşallah. Okay, iyi akşamlar
Okay,
arkadaşlar. Good night everyone.
Okay,
Teşekkür
thank
ederim.
you. I want to
night.
thank you.
Sağ
Thank
olun.
you very
Aynen.
much for the presentation. It was very useful for the both side,
Thank you.
both the personal and professional side. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Appreciate
and
it.
hope see you in next training or
İnşallah.
workshop like
İnşallah.
this.
Thank you, my friend.
Inshallah.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Selamun aleyküm.
Inshallah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Kapatıyor musun